Alright. Today we'll talk about your second favorite Keany Reeves cyberpunk movie about him, an African American rebel, and a kick-ass chick that fight against the machine. We talk about Johnny Mnemonic. Hell, I mean, in this movie, he is Mr. Smith.
You are Mr. Smith.
So Johnny Mnemonic is a 1995 movie that was based on the short story Johnny Mnemonic by William Gibson. The story was written in 1981 and is published in the collection Buring Chrome, and also it was first published in Omni magazine. This story is significant to William Gibson canon and the Sprawl series because it introduces Molly Millions. She's a character from Neuromancer and also Mona Lisa Overdrive. And in Neuromancer, she mentions that Johnny was a person in her life and what happened to him after the story is over. And it's also important because it became a cult classic movie from the 90s. So the reason I'm making this video is that the movie takes place in Thursday, January 17, 2021, which makes this movie kind of current, except for the part that they got the day wrong. They didn't check when January 17, 2021 is, but I don't think that people in 2021 would watch this movie, so big deal. And also at some part of the movie, this becomes the 15th of January.
571, 15 January 2021, say 11:15 p.m. to 11:30 p.m.
For some reason, so I don't know. There's some continuity errors here. I don't know. Well, let's talk. In this video, we talk about the short story that inspired the movie and how they are same or different. The short story, it's really short. It's about 20 pages long, I believe. And it's about Johnny, a trafficker who has undergone cybernetic surgery in order to carry data in his head, and these data are locked by a password. The story begins with Johnny crashing into a bar, Drome, in order to confront Ralphie Face, his most recent customer, who screwed him over. And here we get an introduction to Sprawl, because we have a lot of things that are cool and they're like the dark future 30 years away or something. The high-tech low-life elements of cyberpunk. I mean, plastic surgery makes some faces be consumer tablettes, consumer goods, the cybernetics, and also a lot of post-humanist stuff. I mean, the bouncers of Drome are the Magnetic Dog Sisters. There are two bouncers, one is a black and the other is a white woman, but they have altered their faces so they look exactly the same. And they're a couple, one of them used to be a man, but nobody remembers who it was. So trans representation in 1981. I've read so many articles that it was not a thing, but posthumanism is a thing in cyberpunk. And you can't change that, but in a very 80s way, through the futurism. So Ralphie has left some data inside Johnny's head and also has placed a contract on him. And Johnny confronts him. He goes to a table, to this bar, and pulls a shotgun and aims at Ralphie and his bodyguard. But, the bodyguard, Louis, incapacitates Johnny with a neural disruptor, but he tells Johnny that, yes, the data in your head are stolen by the Yakuza, and they are after the data in his head. But Johnny is saved by Molly, a cybernetically enhanced mercenary that has razor nails and also mirror shades in her head instead of eyes. Then a Yakuza assassin pops into the scene. He has a monomolecular wire that takes out Ralphie and escapes Johnny's sword because he is very fast. He is cybernetically enhanced too. And Molly is happy because he has to deal with a problem. The only way to take the data out of Johnny's head is to find squid. And I learned that squid is really a thing. It's a superconductor circuit or something. So Molly takes Johnny to Jones, who is a junkie dolphin that was cybernetically enhanced by the Navy in the war looking for the Sprouts. I'm not quite sure how this fits. I last read Neuromancer 10 years ago. The Navy used to hook dolphins on heroin to keep them docile, and that's fucked up. That's something that is really so 80s. cyberpunk that you have to love it. So after they retrieve the data, they send a snippet of them to Yakuza and threaten to reveal all of it if they don't leave Johnny alone. But the assassin follows them and Molly takes Johnny to the Lotex, a group of fun-technology outcasts. They live on top of the geodesic domes that are covering the sprawl, and when the assassin comes from them, the Lotex lead him to a sprung-for arena, and Molly confronts him there. She takes him out. The story ends with Johnny a year later, and he lives with Molly and Jones with the Lotex and doing odd jobs. As we learn in Neuromancer, eventually Johnny was taken out by a bad-grown Yakuza ninja, so not a happy ending. There are no happy endings in the sprawl. Overall, the story is typical William Gibson. It's very early, of course, but it's still the style over substance. There is this cool techno-noir dystopia, a lot of techno-gadgets that do cool stuff. I don't think it's his best work, but it's cool AF, so it's a good read. William Gibson was planning to do a small art house film with a budget of $1.5 million about this short story, but he could find no help, no funding. So what he did the obvious thing, turned the script into a $30 million budget blockbuster that was directed by Robert Longo, and it stars everybody's favorite action hero, Keany Reeves, Ice-T, Dolph Lundgren, and of course my big teenage crush, Dina Meyer. There are quite a few differences in order to turn a short story of 20 pages into a almost 2-hour-long movie. So as I said, we start in January 17, 2021. There is a delta What? What the hell? Alright, there is a deadly disease in 2021, but it's called nerve attenuation syndrome, or the black sakes, and it's caused by cybernetics or by ambient radiation and electromagnetic waves, as we learn during the movie. Yes, there were spoilers, in case you didn't notice. So if you plan to either watch the movie or read the short story, do this, save this video and get back to it, and we'll talk about this some more. But yes, there are spoilers about a short story that was written 30 years ago and a movie that was filmed 15 years ago. So Johnny, he tries to get an upgrade for his cybernetic enhancement, but fails to get it, and he needs that in order to carry a lot of data in his head, because he needs the money to do an operation and remove the implant, because he has lost his childhood memories because of it. Similar, right? So he cannot find the upgrade he needs, but he doesn't care. He agrees to carry an excess of data in his head for his latest gig for some scientists, even though it threatens to kill him because the data will overflow into his brain and kill him within a day or two. But Bo needs his money, so he goes for it. His employers are scientists. Chinese scientist, actually. There is John Romero's Chinese cousin, and they upload the data, but midway through the process they're attacked by the Yakuza. So the data are in Johnny's hand, but they have made an encrypted key of 3 sequences out of a TV show that they try to fax to the receiver of their contact in New York. Yeah, fax machines. Fax machines. You can't rely on them. They've got virtual reality internet, but fax machines. And also, sometime later, there's a VCR mentioning.
Listen up, world. This is the last blast from Low Tech World Headquarters. And believe this, we're going out with a bang, baby. So get your VCRs ready.
Johnny, however, escapes with part of the key, and the Yakuza assassin with a cool laser whip is following him, and he also has the rest of the key. So Johnny gets to New York and he meets with his handler Ralphie, but he's betrayed by Ralphie because he is working with Yakuza. He is captured by a mercenary called Jane, which is basically Molly, only without the mirror shades, without the razor nails, because another studio had the movie rights for Neuromancer and never made a movie out of it. Saves him from Ralphie and his bodyguards, the Dog Sisters, and in the Japanese version of the movie, the extended one, we learned that it's the black one that is the trans, and this part was cut from the US version. I wonder why. Why doesn't the US version contain that? I don't know. Must be a coincidence. After they escape, Jane takes Johnny to a clinic.
Password enter. Welcome to BRT Online.
Where he learns by the Dr. Spider that what he carries is the cure for NAS, because a true evil multinational company, pharmaceutical company, owns the cure for NAS, but they refuse to release it because they make more of a profit by keeping it secret. Yeah, it's a 90s movie. Meanwhile, the Yakuza hires a cyborg priest, played by Dolph Lundgren, to get Johnny's head, and he's a treat. He's the best part of the movie, in my opinion. Especially in the Japanese version, where there's the scene he makes a sermon. That was the best part. And meanwhile, John is very reluctant to risk his life to get the cure out of his head into the world, because he may get some side effects. But if it remains in his head, he dies and the cure is lost. Well, whatever, that's story bits, I guess. And after the priest attacks the clinic, Jane takes Johnny to the Lotex in their base. She speaks to their leader, J-Bone, that's Ice-T. And yes, Jane is Dina Meyer instead, in case I haven't stated it. And Ralphie was played by Udo Kier, because I forgot to add their names in there. And he's the leader of the Lotex, who are sort of for anti-rebels, I guess. There's Jones, the dolphin that will take the data out of John's head. The Yakuza attacks the base, and we have the big obligatory 90s big battle. And after the group wins, Johnny agrees that yes, he will have his head hacked and he will save humanity. By doing that, he is helped by a cryptic AI, and he retrieves his childhood memories in the process. And so he learns that that cryptic AI that appears throughout the movie is his mother. Overall, yeah, it's a fun action thriller from the 90s. I think the worst part of the movie is the acting, because it is wooden AF. I mean, Keany Reeves used to be notoriously bad for his wooden acting in the 90s. He got much better since then. Dolph Lundgren is also wooden AF. The acting is bad, and a lot of the plot points make very little sense when you watch this movie. It's fun. And let's be honest, William Gibson is a style over substance, and this doesn't always translate that well in a movie. You really need a very special director to take a William Gibson movie book and make it a movie, let alone a short story. Yeah, he has these cool ideas that work, and I think that some of his best works were the X-Files. The episode he did with X-Files were very good, but overall, yes, that's it. William Gibson is a great author, just doesn't make movie material. Still, this movie is a cult classic of that era, of the 90s, and yeah, it has some similarities to 2020 as we know it. I mean, yes, some people still do use fax machines. What can I say? But overall, yes, that's it. That's sort of a decent adaptation, I guess. It's fun. You can watch it and take your mind out of the movie for a while, enjoy it for what it is. Fun, cult, cyberpunk thriller from the 90s. It actually has a good budget, and it's a William Gibson story. So that's my takeout. The story is much better than the movie, but yeah, the movie has its own place in geek and pop culture. And Keanu, a very young Keanu. If you have watched this movie or read the story, please leave a comment, like, subscribe for more videos like that, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.